Today I'm going to discuss the importance of gathering evidence on a case. The first rule of investigation is get on it immediately. Evidence, in all of its forms, has a tendency to disappear. Let's say, for example, we have a construction site accident. As soon as you get retained on the case, you've got to get an investigator to the scene. Ideally, you yourself should get to the scene with the client if the client's able to physically go with you, because you want to make sure you get the basics of the accident down pat right off the bat. Where did the accident take place? Who owns the subject project? Who is the general contractor? Time changes a lot of things. So if you send an investigator out 6 months after an accident, it could be that your client won't recognize the photographs you're going to provide him with. You want to make the jury part of your search for the truth. And in order to do that, you want to show them a photograph of where the accident took place so they can understand everything as much as they can about the facts of the happening of the accident. The other thing that disappears very quickly after an accident is people, witnesses. What we've learned over the years is that we often are not able to go as soon as we'd like to an accident scene. Our clients are often in the hospital following an accident. They're unable to speak if they've been rendered unconscious, or they're just not available to us or thinking about a lawyer when they're focusing on their health. The defense does not have that delay. An accident takes place on a construction site. That very day, they call in essentially a crisis squad. They have lawyers coming to the scene. They have investigators coming to the scene. They take video footage. They take still photographs. They take statements from every single person they can see that was on the scene that day. That's a huge advantage for the defense. It's really important in every investigation to not let it sit. When you're retained by somebody, get an investigator, get the client if possible to the accident site and get as much information as you possibly can. You know, the firm at any given time has 3 or 4 different firms that we've come to trust. And it's really important that they're thorough, reliable, and honest, and responsive as well. If an investigator's great, but he can't do what you need him to do within he's 3 weeks out, then he's not the right investigator for you, because we often need to jump right on things. Another great example of the need to work quickly is video surveillance. It's amazing the difference between doing my job now as opposed to 30 years ago. It's almost night and day, because certainly for like trucking accidents, car accidents, I would say 90% of the time we are now able to see the accident take place because cameras are everywhere. And it really makes your job a lot easier as a plaintiff attorney to be able to show the jury, hey, listen, people can have different accounts of what took place. And that's true even with a video camera, but it sure does help to show them a video of your client walking in a crosswalk with the light in their favor and then somebody blowing through a red light and hitting them. We're really fortunate to have great investigators who get out on the scene, talk to people, get their cooperation, and get that video footage. Couldn't be more important. It's very important to get witness statements, and very difficult sometimes. I would say that maybe 25% of the time we can get them to cooperate and tell us what they saw. Much more often the case is that the defense gets control of them, because remember, the defendants are the ones that are paying them. They're paying them their salaries. They're the ones whose insurance is paying for the settlement on the case. So our ability to get to and speak to witnesses is really difficult in a construction case. Sometimes we don't have the benefit of having their written statements or having an affidavit done by them right after the accident. We'll often hear them say, we'd love to help. We think that your client's a really nice person, but we can't. Our boss won't let us do it. So we'll have to take their testimony in the form of a deposition at a later time. And that's not ideal, because everyone's memory fades with time. Truly, most of us are lousy witnesses because we're not video cameras, we're not computers. Accidents happen very quickly, unexpectedly. That's why they're called accidents. And our ability to describe what we saw is not good to start with and only gets worse with time. That's one of the things that we try to develop in our depositions is we ask people to give their rendition of what happened that day, and then we ask them questions to, in many cases, undermine what they're saying. Not because they're bad people, but because, as I said, people are terrible witnesses in general. We do it because we care. and yes, the level of investigation varies dramatically based on which firm you're hiring. We have many former prosecutors in this firm. We have many experienced trial lawyers that have tried both cases on behalf of the defense and on the plaintiff's side. When I look at the number of years that we have in experience, it's in the hundreds of years of experience. In this particular type of law, that experience is everything. And it makes us ask questions and undergo investigations that other firms don't do. I can tell you the things that we've done on trial, nobody else in New York is doing. Or that's not to say that there aren't some other very capable firms. There's a handful of really capable firms in New York City. But it's the very top of the industry that does the things that go above the norm and oftentimes are the things that blow open a case. So investigation is crucial, and yes, we do it very differently than other firms. If you're injured in an accident, I would strongly recommend you call us at Block, O'Toole & Murphy. Our telephone number is 212-736-5300, and you can find us, of course, on the internet. If you search Block, O'Toole & Murphy, you'll be directed right to our website.